Hello, welcome everyone. It's time for the monthly blooms video. In this episode, you'll see my African violet standards that are blooming right now. And in the second part, I'll show the miniatures and semi-miniatures that are blooming this month. We'll also take a peek at what's happening in my bubble garden. Let's get started. Here is a standard variety called Ace of Spades. It's hybridized by Kent Stork. It has beautiful dark green foliage and double white blooms with purple center. Next is a Russian hybrid by Елена Korshunova called EK-Morskoi Volk or EK-Sea Wolf. It has lavender blue double star blooms that are ruffled, and they're very large, and they're so heavy that they cannot stand tall, so they just cascade down. Look at how many blooms it has. This is a beautiful hybrid. This one is a new plant for me. This is called Raspberry Crisp by Cox and Johnson, and this is one of the 3 new violets that I purchased this year from Woodland Blooms, together with Ancient Lace that I'll show later, and Louisiana Lullaby, and they're all in bloom right now. It's their first blooming cycle. Raspberry Crisp has beautiful foliage that is dark green, and the blooms are light pink with chocolate red fuchsia ruffled edge, and the shape is also very unusual because the top 2 petals are much shorter than the bottom 3 petals. It's sparkly. I love it. Far there is Wild Irish Rose by Sydney Serrano, finishing off its first blooming cycle. And it has beautiful variegated rosette. And I showed it to you in the previous monthly blooms video. The blooms had much darker pink color on them. And now they're becoming lighter as the weather is cooling down. This is Ancient Lace by Zhemchug. I love the serrated wavy foliage that is dark green and shiny, and the blooms are very delicate pink with green edge on the very top, and they're very frilled. I like the combination of the blooms and the leaves. I think it's a beautiful hybrid. And here is my Pride and Joy Tiger by Irene Fredette. I received it last year, and it was a slow grower at first. And now finally it's getting into the first blooming cycle, and I see a lot of buds coming out, and I was so excited to show it to you guys today. Beautiful deep blue blooms. It's a vintage variety, and I'm so happy to have it in my collection. It has variegated leaves, and it grows very large. It needs a lot of space, but I don't mind having it. I just really wanted to have this variety in my collection. Here is also a new variety for me called Funambule. It's a popular variety with African violet growers, and it is part of parentage of many other famous African violet hybrids. And I was really excited to see the first bloom. Not only it has a beautiful flat variegated rosette, but the blooms are also very beautiful. They have purple as main color or dark blue, and some blue and lavender. So it's just starting to bloom. Here is another hybrid that I'm also very excited to have in my collection. Optimara Romance from Optimara Victorian Charm series. I received it earlier this year from Selective Gardener, and it's just started its first blooming cycle, and I'm so excited seeing how the rosette is growing so nicely after I groomed it upon arrival, and how the blooms are also shaping nicely. I grow this one only under the natural light. I don't add any artificial light for this particular plant. I love the variegation on leaves on this variety. So I mostly wanted to have it for the foliage. It's so beautiful. And here are 3 of my trailers that are standard trailers. I showed this one in my previous monthly blooms video. It's called Belyi Zhemchug or White Pearl. It's a variegated standard trailer by a Russian hybridizer Sherbakov, and it has beautiful rose-shaped double white blooms and variegated foliage. This one is a new trailer that I just got from the same source as Funambule. I got it from Fancy Bloomers this year, and it's called Lituanika, and it just got the very first bloom, and I'm very excited about it too. So I'm looking forward to many more blooms. This is Glitter Fountain, a standard variegated trailer by Irene Fredette. I also showed it previously, and it keeps on blooming. I love it for the variegated foliage and the double pink blooms or semi-double that sometimes have some sparked red edge around them. I like the combination of the leaves and the blooms on this hybrid. This is a first bloom on the Russian standard hybrid called RM Scent of Summer, or in the native language it is called RM-Aromat Leta by Natalia Skornyakova. It has beautiful frilled star shaped coral pink blooms with white center. Here is Louisiana Lullaby by Linden Line Greenhouses and Paul Serrano. And this plant is such a profuse bloomer for the first blooming cycle. I'm so impressed by it. It has lavender blooms with some white, and it has also the dark purple upper tips with some green ruffle edge. And look at the amount of blooms on this one. And the size is really large. They're about 3 inches across. And this is an unknown variety that I cherish in my collection. I don't know the hybridizer and the name, but I think it's very beautiful and no less beautiful than the named varieties. It has beautiful dark periwinkle blue blooms with some white edge that are double, and the variegated foliage with medium green and white variegation. So these are all of my African violet standards that are blooming this month. In the next episode, I will show you the miniatures and semi-miniatures varieties that are in bloom. Stay tuned for that. If you like this video, make sure to click the like button and subscribe.